Good day, students. Today we are starting with the third unit of the ninth class, that is atoms and molecules. Let us discuss some important definitions. So, unit number 3, atoms and molecules. So, first of all, we have the first question: define atom and molecule. This is our unit number 3, that is ninth class. What is atom and what is molecule? So answer is atom. Atom is made of two words. A means not, Tom means cut, which cannot be cut. Means it is indivisible, it cannot be divided into smaller particles. It was the definition which was given by by Dalton. Atom, it is defined as the smallest particle of an element which may or may not have independent existence. It is represented by symbols of the element with atomic number and mass number as a subscript and superscript. So this is the representation of atom. Then we have the second definition, that is molecule. It is the smallest particle of a substance which has independent existence. Smallest particle of a substance, element or compound, which exists independently. Molecules, they can be monoatomic. They consist of atoms, one atom only. For example, helium, this is monoatomic molecule. Neon, argon, krypton, xenon, all noble gases, they exist as a monoatomic molecules. So then we have homoatomic molecules. They are made of atoms of same element, for example H2, O2, N2, Cl2, etc. Then we have heteroatomic molecules. They are made of atoms of different element, for example H2O, H2SO4, C12H22O11, this is sugar. These are called as heteroatomic molecules. So molecules, they are of three types: monoatomic. Then we can also classify diatomic. These are all diatomic molecules. Then we have polyatomic, which are made of more than two types of atoms. Then we have the next, what is the chemical formula? Question number 2. Define chemical formula of a compound. Now, what is chemical formula of a compound? It shows the constituents of the constituent elements and their number of atoms which are participating in the formation of a particular compound. Then we have ion. Question number 3, define ion. Ion is a electrically charged species. It may be the monatomic ion or it may be polyatomic ion. Ion, they are of two types. Number 1, positive ions. They bear positive charge because they are formed by loss of electrons. Example is sodium positive, Cl positive, Br positive, calcium 2 positive. These are positive ions. Then we have the second negative ions. They bear negative charge, Cl, Br, I, NO3 negative. They are polyatomic also, NO3 negative. Phosphite, phosphate, sulfate, sulfite. They are also polyatomic ions, COO2 positive, MOO positive. So central atom may be having positive charge, they are also polyatomic ions. Then we have the valency. It is defined as the combining capacity of the atom of an element. What is valency? It is defined as the combining capacity of an atom of an element. It is equal to the number of hydrogen atom or number of chlorine atom, or it is the double of the number of oxygen atoms with which an atom of an element that combines. Let us define valency. Valency is defined as the combining capacity of an atom of an element. Then it is also equal to the number of hydrogens equal to number of chlorine equal to double the number of oxygen. With which an atom of element combines. Let us establish the valency of lithium by this method. Lithium combines with one hydrogen to give you lithium hydride. It combines with one chlorine to give you lithium chloride. It combines with two lithium combines with one oxygen. Now if we see the valency here, it combines with one hydrogen, valency is 1. Again it is 1. In this case, one lithium combines with half oxygen, double this number. You will be having again valency 1. So valency is actually the number of hydrogen or number of chlorine or double the number of oxygen atom with which an atom of a element that combines, that is called as valency. Now what is variable valency? It is the valency which is more than one type of valency that is shown by an element. So if an element shows more than one type of combining capacity, then it is called as variable valency. For example, iron can form FeCl2, it can form FeCl3. Here the valency of iron will be +2, here it will be +3. So it is the valency is variable in case of the heavier metals, they are transition metals, and sometimes we see in case of the non-metal also. For example, carbon can exist C+4 and it can exist in C-4. So these are the valency which are having different value. If an element has different value in different compound, then it is said to possess variable valency. Number of compound, they have variable valency. So carbon has very variable valency, number of compounds. Similarly, iron has variable valency. Similarly, we can see the variable valency in case of the number of compounds. Cadmium can show SCCl2, it can form SCCl3, and so on. Molybdenum can form MO2, MOO3. So MOO, all of these compounds possess different valency of molybdenum in this case. Then we have the radical. What is radical? It is negatively or positively charged atoms. The atomic species, they are called as radical. They may be negatively charged or positively charged. So radical, these are negatively charged, positively charged. atoms. Now negatively charged are Cl, Bri, then sulfate, these are polyatomic radicals, phosphate, polyatomic radicals, carbonate, these are polyatomic radicals. Then we have positive radicals, ammonium ion polyatomic radical, nitronium ion polyatomic radical, similarly chloronium ion it is monoatomic radical, bromonium ion monoatomic radical, hydronium ion it is polyatomic radical. So radicals, they are positively charged, they are negatively charged, they are made up of single atom, or they contain a number of atoms in them. So they are called as compound radical also. The polyatomic radicals, they are also called as the compound radicals. Phosphate, sulfite, and your ammonium, these are called as the compound radicals. Then we have the monatomic molecules. We have already studied. It is noble gases which possess the monatomic molecules. Since they have their octet complete, they have 8 electrons in their valence shell, so they don't have the tendency to combine with other atoms. The reason they will exist independently, their atom will exist independently, and they are called as a monoatomic molecules. Then we have polyatomic ion. It is an ion having more than one type of atoms. Then chemical formula of a chemical compound, it is determined by the valency of the element. For example, we want to write the aluminium chloride. Formula of aluminium chloride is driven from valency of these two. Aluminium is trivalent, chloride is univalent. Their valencies are crossed. Then we get 3 here, 1 here. So its formula will be AlCl3. So formula of a compound that depends upon the valency of the combining atoms, which are switched over, which are chained mutually, and we get the formula of a compound. Then we have the chemical formula of any compound. It is determined by the charge on the ion. Each ion that is determined by the charge on each ion. For example, we want to write the formula of sodium chloride. How to write it? Sodium is univalent, positive charge. Chloride is also univalent, it is negatively charged. Then their valencies are crossed. So we get this formula. If we want to write sodium phosphate, then how to write it? Sodium is univalent plus charge, phosphate trivalent minus 3 charge. They are crossed. Formula will be Na3PO4 twice. PO4, Na3PO4. So in this manner the formula of different compounds are written. Then we have laws of chemical combination. This was our question number 5. Define variable valency. Then we have question number 6. Define radical. Then we move to other questions. Now we come to laws of chemical combination. There are 5 laws of chemical combination. They are very important in explaining and formation of the compounds, in explaining different chemical phenomena. So we'll be writing now laws of chemical combination. Question number 7 is define and explain laws of chemical combination. First law is law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation of mass says that in a chemical process, the sum of the masses of the reactant that should be equal to the sum of the masses of the product. Or in other words, we can say the mass can neither be created nor be destroyed, although it can change from one form to another form. We do here an experiment. This is called as Landols experiment. Here we are having a apparatus like this, which is having a two bulbs in it. One bulb is filled with AgNO3 solution and another bulb is filled with NaCl solution. This is opening, two solution got mixed. When we shake well, they combine together, they will give you now mixture of AgCl plus NaNO3 is formed. If you weigh initially, let it be W1 gram. After shaking, we weigh again. It is W2 gram. W1 must be equal to W2 gram. This proves law of conservation of mass. Nothing has been lost. Then we have the second law of constant composition. A pure chemical compound, irrespective of its source, is always made of same elements combined together in a fixed ratio by weight. For example, pure CO2 is made of carbon and oxygen in the ratio of 12:32, that is 3/8. Similarly, pure water, it is made of hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio of 2:16, or it is 1:8. So pure chemical compound, it is brought from any source, from any country. It will contain the same elements combined together in a fixed ratio by weight. This is our second law. Then we have the third law of chemical combination, that is law of multiple proportion. Law of multiple proportion states when two elements combine together to form multiple compounds, then weight of one element, if got fixed, the weight of other element will be at simplest whole number ratio among it. Suppose A and B, they are combining. First, one time they are forming AB, they are forming AB2, they are forming AB3, they are forming AB4. Now here weight of A is fixed, and there is definite ratio in the weight of B in different compound. It is 1:2, 3:4. This is our law of multiple proportion, which states when two elements combine together to give two or more compounds, if weight of the one element is fixed, then weight of other element in different compound bear a simplest whole number ratio. So what will we observe? Example number 1, we have CO and CO2. Here carbon is fixed, 12 gram in both cases. The ratio in weight of oxygen, that is 16:32, that is 1:2. In case of SO2 and SO3, weight of sulfur is fixed, it is 32 gram. Oxygen is 32 in first case, 42 in second case, and the ratio comes out to be 2:3 in this case. Similarly, nitrogen produces number of oxide NO, N2O, NO2, N2O3, N2O4, N2O5. If weight of nitrogen is got fixed in all the compound, let it be 14, then here oxygen is 16. Let it be 14, here oxygen is 8. It is 14, then it is 32. It is 14, then it is 24. It is 14 made half of 80, that is 40. It is 14, again made half, made, this is N2O4, this is N2O4. It is 64 made half, 32. The ratio is 1, 2, and it is 4, 3, 5 and 4. So ratio is always whole number. If weight of one element is fixed in different compound, then the ratio in the weight of other element, that will be the same. This is called as law of multiple proportion. Then we have the fourth law, that is called as law of reciprocal proportion. This law states when two elements combine separately with a fixed weight of third element, the ratio in which they do so, their weights, 12 gram carbon, 32 gram sulfur, it is ratio is 12 by 32, that is carbon upon sulfur. In this case, carbon upon sulfur will be 12 upon 64. So it comes out to be 2:1. This is law of reciprocal proportion, which states that when two elements combine separately with a fixed weight of third element, the ratio of their masses that will be same when they combine among themselves, or that will be whole number of the ratio when they are combining separately. This is our law of reciprocal proportion. Then we have fifth law, that is Gay-Lussac's law. This is meant for gaseous. Whenever gases combine their volume bear a simplest whole number ratio, they definitely bear simplest whole number ratio among their volumes. For example, when N2 combines with H2, producing 2NH3 gas, the ratio in the volume of these two gases is 1:3:2. So this is called as Gay-Lussac's law of gaseous volume. Whenever gases combine, their volume bear different, their volume bear a definite whole number ratio. This is our fifth law of chemical combination. So this is all about our first lecture. Then we'll discuss the other topics in our second.